Hey everyone, I'm Brian Austin Green.
I'm Sharna Burgess.
And I'm Randy Spelling.
And you are listening to Oldish, an iHeartRadio podcast.
Hi everybody. Welcome to another episode of Oldish.
Yay. I love the fact that I'm not the person doing these intros all the time anymore. I love this.
That's still wild to me that, anyway, we've talked about that. Okay. Randy and I just thought that that's what you wanted to do. You wanted to do the intros, but now we get to do them. And
we were just being courteous and kind.
I'm not nearly as much of a narcissist as you guys thought.
I know, you're not. You're not a narcissist. I love you. Yeah, we're creating t-shirts over here. We just said tangents may happen, Oldish, because, that happens on this podcast. So we might create a t-shirt line. No,
we should. Stickers.
Yeah.
Randy,
what's happening?
So much and also nothing. Do you ever feel like that? I feel like it's kind of life is normal, but also within that there's just a lot.
For sure. Absolutely. We talked about this last time, like it's feeling so busy, and like you get to the end of the week and you're like, oh, thank God that week is over. I had so much scheduled. And then the next week starts and it's just as busy, if not busier. And it's just like continuing to go that way. Like we're out of town, but we're having phone meetings and, and just stuff happening all the time. So it's like the chance of just sitting and relaxing, that hasn't really happened yet.
You know what I find crazy? When I can have the busiest week ever and then someone's like, hey, so how was your week? And I'm like, good. I don't know. I don't actually remember a thing that I did, but I was nonstop. I don't know how I don't know what I was nonstop with, but I'm tired. And I remember no things.
That's when people say, how was your weekend? And I literally am trying to think back of what I did over the weekend, and it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah. That's it. That's oldish right there. That's got to be. I don't feel like that was a thing when I was younger.
You could ginkgo biloba that though, right back to things being fine.
I used to take ginkgo biloba. That stuff's good.
That was in trend.
Get back to that
years ago. That kind of went out with.
Well, that just dated me, didn't it? Right.
Ginkgo biloba came out with the Usher song 20 years ago.
I was getting a page about ginkgo biloba a long time ago. Anybody ever get a fax where you're like, oh, there, it's an ad for ginkgo biloba? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. We have one of our producers saying, I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly.
Damn
you, Blair.
Point made.
I want to share something with you that came up in session the other day, and it came out of my mouth to tell someone. And then I thought, I'm going to practice this. And I have practiced it a little bit. So I literally told someone, we were talking about mindfulness and slowing down. And I said, practice being an alien. And of course, they looked at me like I was crazy over Zoom. And I said, no, really, for the next 10 minutes, just try it for little spurts at a time. Act as if you have never been on the planet before. You don't have definitions for anything. And you're just in utter curiosity and awe of what a spice looks like and what something smells like, and this, light in the sky that you look up and see, and let life come through your senses and see what kind of experience that is.
That's a really interesting idea.
And how was that?
It was a way to be incredibly mindful, but in a new way. I don't know. For me, I like things that are creative. I don't know about you too. So if I'm like, okay, I'm just going to practice mindfulness right now, I sort of go through all the ways that I know to be mindful, hold the cup of tea, turn it in my hand, feel the warmth. But I don't know, maybe from my acting days, like playing this role of showing up, being this, being that I've never experienced anything on the planet before. Everything was new and everything was novel, and it was really fun. It was like a mini vacation.
That's really cool. It reminded me of right before I had started doing the Terminator series that I did on Fox, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. I remember I booked that and it was like, okay, you have to start shooting in 2 days. So I really had no time to prepare for it. So the one thing that I did, I made the choice the morning that I got the news that I had booked it, of I'm going to spend the next 2 days watching every single person that passes me or that I come across and thinking, what if that is a Terminator? Like, what if that is somebody that is pretending to be a person, but is not? But it's very much the same thing. It's like you put yourself in this, in this feeling, in these surroundings, in this way of interpreting the world that is completely alien to the way you've done it up until that point. It's incredibly freeing, and it's an incredibly interesting practice to do, because you see things in such a different way than you have for years and years and years. It's really, I got so much out of doing that. It really helped, obviously, with work, but it was just really, I remember when that was done and getting to set and just really feeling like, God, that was a really cool experience to do that, to take the steps of changing the way I look at the world and the way I view things that way. Because it was so extreme, you know. It's not like, oh, I'm a little more nervous around people, or like, you're not, it's not normal like character development things you do. It's like complete extreme. Like, okay, now this is your fear. Like you've, on something like that, it's like you've traveled from the future where it's all robots and they're trying to kill you. And it's like, oh man, I've really got to put myself in a different mind state. But that alien thing sounds the same way.
Sharna, have you experienced anything like that for short periods of time?
No, not where it's felt alien, but I was just thinking that what you're saying feels like the flip side of the what if I never ever get to do this again? What if this is the last day? So not what if this is the first day, but what if this was the last day? And I find that I've done that and thought that to myself many times in my life when things may have been difficult, whether it was touring way back in the day, long before Dancing with the Stars, or, with exhaustion. It's like, what if this was the last time I ever got to do this? So I could soak up every moment, every single inch of it as much as I possibly could and discover it in a whole new way. So I feel like I've gone for the same thing but with a different angle, but I could totally see how going in with like, I've never experienced this before, let me feel like an alien. That's a fun take on it. I think that's a fun new way of discovering the things around you that are always there and finding the beauty in them, because we take so much for granted.
Yeah, it's so easy to just do things by rote, live by rote, go out, and you just, like you said, you take it all for granted. The sun's there, the trees are there, because you have already identified all of these things and these things, they kind of fall into the background. But
how many times do you drive somewhere and you get there and you go, I have no idea how I got here. I'm just so used to driving this exact route every single day that it was autopilot. Like I didn't even really need to completely pay attention to where I was going as much as just making sure I was safe driving. But this is the way I turn every single time.
Yeah, exactly. So Sharna, when you had that experience where you thought, what if this was the very last time that I perform in this way, in this place, and I'm just going to drink it all in, what actually changed, if anything?
The joy in it, it was that feeling the deep gratitude for everything around me and within that moment. And it hasn't just been performing on stage. It can be just the simple things, but it really made a difference for me to overcome at the time, and specifically with things like exhaustion and body aches or whatever it is, to not fall into that and go, okay, no, I'm going to be so present. And what if this was the last time? I wouldn't want to look back on it and feel like all I did was think about the things that were bothering me. I want to remember all the things that I love. And it's such a beautiful experience to do that. It changed, like I said, the energy and the joy around it. And I remember those days. I remember the feelings that would rush through me, the energy rushes, or the faces that I'd see, or whatever it was. I remember them even more clearly because I was so much more present to them.
Yes, more of that. So if anyone wants to try Sharna's way, or the way that I said, or Brian's way, do it.
Nobody wants to try my way. What are you talking
about? Of course.
Well, you pretend everyone's a Terminator?
Pretend everyone's a Terminator that you're going to die.
No.
But yeah, maybe don't do that, actually.
Either try Randy's example or Sharna's.
Wait,
that's much healthier.
If you do Brian's
Good point.
Did you see that video? It was a while ago now. It went viral of the woman on a plane where she was like, that motherfucker is
Oh,
not
yeah.
real. Like someone that was on the plane. Brian's way might lead you to being arrested, and questions being asked.
Good point. Yeah. Okay.
is a good
Don't
point.
do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Especially on a plane.
Speaking of body aches, you're talking and I'm
Oh.
watching you sort of squeeze
Oh,
your
I am
hands.
hurting.
What's
Randy.
happening?
So I've been learning a new skill, right? I've been learning a new skill. I've been learning how to snowboard, and I am a newborn when it comes to this. And even though I think I'm learning, or Bri tells me I'm learning pretty quickly, for me, I'm learning too slowly.
Yeah.
But my whole body hurts. My whole body from my head to my toes, my palms in like the meaty part of your palms. Like it is just all hurting. There was one time when I fell on my butt and I hit like more icy snow, not actual just powder snow. And for a second, I sat there for a couple minutes, like I may be carried down this mountain right now. This really hurts. Like it just, but like one of the days when I was skating, right? We went for a trip and the day two. So day one started feeling really good. And this was only my second time attempting snowboarding. And day one started to feel really good. A few runs down the mountain, started to feel out things, getting a little confidence. We go back the next morning and I'm hurting. Like the grunts are happening when I get out of bed. Like the oohs and ahs, they're not good.
That I've made famous here, Randy.
Yeah.
You've heard,
Yes.
you've heard
Those
those.
ones,
yeah.
Yeah.
I was absolutely doing those. But no, I really want to do this because I want to learn this skill and sharing it with Bri for the rest of our lives. Like I want this to be a thing that we do, and I do love it. But I got out on that mountain and it did not feel good on the first run down. I felt like I'd lost all the things I'd done the day before and I was pissed at myself. I lost all patience with myself. I was salty. I was ready to take that board off and go inside and just not participate for the rest of the day. It might have had something to do with I hadn't had coffee that morning either. So there's probably that, but it was not a good day.
So we did it. We finished this run and it was like, okay, let's go to the coffee shop and get something to eat.
And he's so patient with me.
Maybe
I have
it'd
to
be
tell you
nice to
that.
do that. But I could just tell like she was just in a terrible mood.
Terrible
And
mood.
The self-talk was
Oh,
high.
it was
Yeah,
high.
And the problem is, Sharna, she's doing amazing at snow. I mean, literally, she's done 3 days now of doing it. And I remember I always try and share with her the story of when I started, because for the first 2 complete days of snowboarding, I had nobody helping me. So I fell for 2 days.
Mhm.
Like I would stand and fall and stand and fall and stand and fall. Like there was no movement for me. There was no joy in that. She's doing so good. And like, I really just tried to give her a pep talk of like, just enjoy what it is you're getting so good at doing. And like, give yourself a little space to realize like, this is only your 3rd day doing it. You're doing amazingly. And we have a lifetime of like getting better at this. You don't need to be, world class within 3 days of learning how to snowboard. She is coming from that competitive nature though, and being a dancer. She's like, it doesn't feel right. And it was so great yesterday, but now it's not working the same way. And it's like, okay,
So impatient with myself.
but
Oh my God.
your body is sore. You're feeling achy. You're feeling stiff. You're now trying to implement the things that started feeling good yesterday, but you're pushing too hard in doing that, which is what I think people tend to do. It's like you succeed and then you want to just continue that feeling of success. And it's like, you've got to, like you always say, it's circular. Like it goes here and then it comes back around and goes backwards. And then you move one step further than that the next time, and then it comes back. So it's like, you have to be patient with yourself, I think. And she's doing so good. I'm so impressed with how well she's learning and picking it up, and her like ability to really feel what her body is doing and not doing. And if I give her like a hint, or I try and just give her, instead of giving her lessons, I try and just give her little ideas that I know her brain will process and make sense of.
Smart man.
I've learned how her
I'm
brain
not going to
works.
give her lessons.
Right.
I'm just going to, just share some things.
But like on that, I've been an athlete my whole life. Like I love lessons. I love learning. Give me the information. I also watch, but I learn by watching. I can mimic, but we go forward on the opposite foot. So I like my body wants to
Oh,
mimic what
right.
he's doing, but then it's actually the reverse. So I get frustrated. But no, I love lessons and he's an amazing patient teacher. And thankfully he knows me so well, which is just that beauty of knowing each other, and in always being transparent and comfortable in sharing your feelings with one another. Like he just knows me. So he could tell that I was having a really hard run, even though I'm keeping it in. Like I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I'm just mad at myself, but he can see it. And he got me out of it. He got me out of my head. He got me a coffee. And we also we talked about it a little bit.
And then
And
we
like
did another run and you had a great time.
and it was so much better. And, unfortunately we had to leave after that run. Otherwise I totally would have gone again. But like it was so nice that I had someone there with me that understood me and was able to pull me out of that like kind of down on myself space of like, why is this not working? And help me just remember to have fun with it. And it was so good. And it makes me really excited to continue learning and growing in doing this with Bryce because he's so good. And I start to feel bad, right? Because I'm like, oh, he could go fast, he could do all these things, and I'm holding him back. And I kept asking him that morning, and like, you just go have fun. Like I kept feeling like I was not an annoyance, but like
Nuisance.
a nuisance in a sense. And he was
Yeah.
like, baby,
I kept
stop.
telling her, I was like, why do you think it would be fun for me to go down the hill as fast as I could on my own compared to like taking my time and enjoying it with you? And like, there's no benefit to that. Like I'm having so much fun doing exactly what I'm doing. Like I'll go for these little spurts and then I'll stop and I'll turn back and I'll coach her down to the point where I am. And then so we go and then stop and go and stop. And so the runs become much longer and fun. And I enjoy just being up on the mountain. I enjoy being with Sharna. And it's
Yeah.
the whole experience is amazing.
It's been a good time. But yes, that's why you see me aching because I am still aching. It is unreal how much like this put on my body. And also a reminder of like how far my physical fitness has come in the last couple of years of not being like a high intensity athlete like I was. My muscles are just not as prepared for this as they would have been, a couple of years ago. So that is just
Yeah.
another reminder if I've got to do more.
I'm sure there's that too, but sometimes when you're doing a physical activity that you don't do, it's just out of your repertoire and you're using
Totally,
muscles
that
in
too.
ways.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's it's
have
rough.
you gone snowboarding before?
Yes, I was impatient with myself, just like Sharna. And then my
You feel
youngest,
me.
oh, I feel you. I went with a friend of mine
Mhm.
who I didn't realize was at some point a junior pro surfer, snowboarder.
Mhm.
So I'm getting over a breakup. He's like, "Oh, let's go to the mountain." So we go to the mountain, we rent this place, we practice the day before just on a little hill at the hotel we were staying at. And then the next day, he takes me on I think it was a double blue or something instead of the
Mhm.
green. And
Mhm.
I didn't even know what to look for. I'm just going down. I kept going off the side of the embankment
Mhm.
and I
Oh
couldn't get my
no.
snowboard off. So I had to climb up
Oh
and
no, the
claw
way.
my way up. I was dripping wet. I fell so many times. Literally at one point I just laid there for 10 minutes and people kept
Get
going,
that
"Are you
feeling.
okay?" And I'm like, "I'm not sure."
Yeah. No, I'm not okay.
I'm not okay. By the time I made it down the mountain, he said, "Do you want to go again?" And I said, "No way. I am done. I'm out." And that was
And
my
that was
last
the end
time
of your
snowboarding.
snowboarding career.
Oh man.
That was the end. I should try it again,
You
but
should. You
You
should
should come
try
up
it.
with us.
Yeah, you should try it with people that are patient and helping you and giving you little
yes.
pointers and that because it's important. I didn't I tell Sharna like the year that I started boarding was really I think the sport had either started that year or the season before. So when I went up on the mountain, there were literally no snowboarders. Everybody was wearing skis.
Yeah.
So there was nobody for me to learn from because there was nobody else doing it. There were no
Mm.
pros. They weren't teaching snowboarding on the mountain. Like it wasn't even, it honestly just didn't even really exist at that point.
You're a self-made man, Brian.
Yeah. So I had, well, yeah, I fell again. I fell for 2 days, but I guess that's part of the experience. That's part of being self-made is you stumble a lot. And then you get to a point where you go, oh no, I totally get this.
See, there's an inadvertent message even in talking about snowboarding. Do
Totally.
y'all get that? It's here.
It's gorgeous.
It's you.
So wait, I had a question. So you said you took Sharna for a coffee.
Yeah.
Did you get a coffee or are you still drinking your
I
rise
didn't.
mushroom?
I'm still drinking that. I had a chai latte.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you went to tea. I was wondering
Yeah.
what, speaking of coffee and tea and mushrooms, and
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about what your morning routines are and how they've changed from when you were younger or single to now having kids. What's the morning routine like these days?
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Our morning routine is pretty mundane. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing every day. We sleep with the baby monitor on. Zane usually wakes up around like 7:15, 7:30. So we hear him through the monitor and then we watch on the camera. We get up out of bed. The kids are downstairs. So we start making sure that they've got all their stuff together for school. We're feeding Zane. But it's pretty much rinse and repeat. Like we pretty much do the same thing every morning during the week.
But it's like chaotic though. Like you
Oh,
say
it's
like that.
insane.
Once you get up, it's like let the dogs out, make sure the kids have got what they need for school. Where's the printed out homework that we finished? Brian makes me a coffee, getting Zane. Is he eating? Is he not? Like, because we're going through that too. It's
We alternate responsibilities too. So like
yeah.
she'll get up and she'll go, okay, I'll take the dogs out. I'll do the thing. So it's like, okay, then I will do lunches and I will cook breakfast. So it's like we kind of alternate what it is we have to do, the tasks in the morning. But
Which also helps it feel not mundane because you're not
Right.
doing the same things every day.
Right.
And it's really beautiful when, it's for Brian. Normally he makes me my coffee, very acts of service guy, right? But it's awesome for him when I make his drink for him because that's something new and something different. Or he generally takes the dogs out more than I do. But when I'll do it, that's really cool for him because he gets to do something else with the kids and then have the dogs out. So it's nice to change up what we do for each other too,
the
Yeah.
routine changed a lot at the point when I stopped drinking coffee. That used to be much more of our routine was every morning get up and you go down, we'd have 2 cups of coffee. And so we would each have our own and we would do that. So when that went away, it was kind of like, okay, luckily I had the mushroom coffee to replace it with, but
because that's been like a ritual since we started dating.
yeah. I mean, one of our bonds initially was coffee. It was like a good cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, but it's changed a lot since I was like, if I talk about my morning routine was a huge thing for me in my like spiritual growth and healing. I realized that I needed to make my mornings work for me. It was a part of how I set up my day. And it was a really big deal. It was having my gratitude practice and taking my dogs out for a walk, doing some meditation, and I didn't have a 9 to 5. Like I would fit those things in. If I had a 9 a.m. rehearsal, I'd do a shorter version of it. But for the most part, like most days, I would have my mornings enough time to do this. And it was really huge. And I cherish those moments because never again will I have mornings like that. There will never again be mornings where I can
the
just
toothpaste back in the tube. It's
no.
Once you have kids and you have a family, it's like, okay, that's now it's,
there is no leisurely 3-hour morning of solitude of just focusing on what
it's like long shower and I'm gonna like, think about the day before and what it's like. No, that's not. It's all like high speed now. You're trying to get in and out within 10 minutes.
Yeah. Very different. But I wouldn't trade it.
No, I mean, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
You really
Yeah.
can't.
No.
You really, really cannot.
I've tried, by the way. It
It
really is
doesn't work.
hard.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
But I'm curious about something, and I kind of want to challenge this. Yeah, I get that we can't have 3-hour mornings. I mean, I have kids, so that just doesn't happen. But could you have some of what you had? And maybe you do, but could you sort of get back to, I have a 15-minute practice, or I set up my day in a way that at least allows me to feel that I have some agency over what is happening versus just being dragged around by the madness.
Yeah, I think that's an important point. I like that really hit home for me when we had Tony Horton on the show. And he was talking
Yeah.
about taking time to work, that there is no excuse. Even if you can only take 15 minutes out of the day, you get up 15 minutes before everything starts. Like you have to find that time. And so that's definitely been in the forefront of my mind now, is like, okay, no more excuses of it's really busy in the morning. It's like, okay, if it's really busy, then get up before that really busy happens. So you have that time, like, find the space to do that and get it done, because it's really important. And it's so easy to forget. It's so easy to forget about taking care of yourself when
Mhm.
when your responsibilities are for your family and your kids, and you have this routine and these things that need to get done every morning or every single day. But it's so just for your own mental health and your just the way you look at yourself in the mirror and the way you feel about yourself. It's so important to take that time to fit, and you can find it somewhere. Everybody's got time within a day. It's, again, wake up 15 minutes earlier. So you have 15 minutes for yourself. Do, like, find those spaces. Anybody can find them.
Yeah. I have a client who recently, their New Year's resolution was to work out, but work out in the morning, because I guess they would work out after work. And sometimes it would happen, sometimes it wouldn't. And so she said, I'm going to make the commitment. I'm getting up. It's dark. And it's now, just talked to her yesterday. So it's now been, almost 2 months, a month and a half. She's done it every single day except one. And it's such a testament to, well, why wasn't this happening before? For whatever reason, it's like, oh, I can't get up that early. I don't want to get up that early. I don't have the energy.
Right. It's all the excuses. We make all of these excuses for ourselves.
All the things. And then you do it and you go, oh, actually, without working out, I kind of feel lethargic. I kind of,
Mhm.
this is part of my day, and it gets built into the day.
Yeah.
Would you build something into your day that you don't have now?
Me personally, or are you asking the audience?
Well, sure, for
Yeah,
everyone.
question out to everyone.
Yeah, I think for me, as I'm like listening to Bri and you speak and like pondering on this whole subject of it, because sometimes I think like, oh, but I got every morning, like sometimes I cherish the mornings where we'll get to spend a little more time with each other, and that feels more important than getting up and doing a workout or whatever. I think it's, for me, as I'm listening, it's like, oh, take the pressure of it having to be every day. Not every day do you have
Absolutely.
to get up and make sure you go to the gym. And not every day do you have to find those 15 minutes for this. Maybe those 15 minutes are for quality time, with your partner, just an extra, whatever, morning snuggle or something,
Yeah.
or a conversation, or, special time with each other. Even a shower together in the morning is a really beautiful thing to take time, an intimate moment before you go about your day. I love those things.
That is
Well,
an
you also
intimate
like the
moment.
shower really, really hot, and I do not. So
Hey, this is
it can
funny
be
thing.
it can be a bit of like a fight over over water in the shower.
Temperature.
But
Thank God we have two shower heads. But wait, do you find this, Randy? Tangent. Here we go. That women like scalding showers. Like, I want it
Yes.
to feel like it's peeling
Yes.
my skin off.
Yes.
And men are like, oh my God, what do
I
you
don't
mean?
understand it. I don't get it.
I don't
She-
understand
she-
how one can sit in water that hot and
We got
have
in the
that be
shower. We got in the
comfortable.
shower this morning, and I was like, I gave her a hard time. I was like, you have this turned up literally as hot as it will go. And she was like, no, it's lower than that. And I said, no, no, no.
No.
I grabbed the handle because it was too hot, but I didn't know which way to turn it because we're in an Airbnb. So I went to turn it one way and it didn't move. So I was like, okay, well, that is the absolute hottest then that it can go on. So I can only turn it down from here. So I said that to her and she was like, okay, yeah, maybe I might like
Mine
it.
was all the way up. I love a scalding shower. I will stand under that thing. I love it so
I
much.
don't
But
understand.
I also really love showers with Bri. But it's like when he gets in, I feel like the water is just cold. Like it's
I
just
well, if we're running double shower
double
heads
shower
and we have one water heater, it's like I want to make sure she has hot water. So I will take my water temperature down just above cold. So it's warm enough where I'm not like, oh my God, I'm getting, I'm like
That's
shaking.
so
and I'm-
considerate.
Isn't
That's
it
so.
though? I'm like, baby, I feel it. I'm like, baby, that's cold water. He's like, no, it's fine. I'm like, baby, that's cold water. He's like, it's fine. I'm like, you're insane. But I love
It's
you
fine
so
as
much.
long
Thank
as you have your scalding hot water.
Yeah,
All will be
yeah.
okay.
Right,
Oh my
right.
God. Am I that precious? Maybe I am. Maybe I am
That is-
about my water temperature.
No, I think what you said, just going back to, does it have to be every day? Absolutely not. It just depends on what your goal is. And that's the thing is, if you have a goal to get in really good shape and it's so important to you and you want to feel physically more fit, I would not say every day, but a lot of days.
Don't you
that's
feel like the
great.
consistency though of every day, like that's important when it becomes whether it's working out every morning or spending time cuddling or like doing those things, it's the consistency to me. I would think of doing it every day to where it becomes second nature. It's not something that you have to think about every time.
If you're trying to build a habit,
Yeah, you're starting to now naturally take care of yourself.
Would it be just as effective if you had it? I'm asking, would it be just as effective if you had it as a consistent schedule? So you were like, okay, Monday, I'm getting up at 5, Tuesday, I get up at 6, like, or like you schedule it so you know, so you build consistency that way to build the habit, or that's not as you would have to do it
I
every
wouldn't.
day.
you can. You
Okay.
you can do that. I again, it depends on the goal. So if you're really trying to build a habit, let's just say for working out, and moving your body at some point. If you're not someone who likes movement and you shirk the moving in some way, then I think it would be great to just for a period of time build it into your day
Just do it
every day as much as possible. Get in the habit of it. So before you go do whatever it is you're going to do
Yeah.
for the rest of the day, you have moved, you've oxygenated your blood, your heart's beating.
I feel like if I gave myself like, oh, I'm only going to do it like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to do 6 a.m.
Yeah,
Tuesday,
that's
Thursday,
hard.
7. Then it's like if I miss on Monday, that I almost I think would have a little more leniency because it's like, oh well, I'll just pick up, but then you can start just falling out of the habit of doing something compared to like if it's something that I just do every single day and try and make it a habit, then when I don't do it, it really stands out the fact that I didn't do it because it's something
Yeah.
that I experience every single day.
Yeah, no, I think it's imperative to do it as much as possible with consistency so you build the habit. And then after you've built the habit, it's like brushing your teeth in the morning. People having coffee, it's ingrained. You are not going to go on your day if you're a coffee drinker without having coffee. You're not just going to, uh-oh, I forgot to have coffee if you have coffee every single morning, right? It's a habit.
Right.
But to what you were saying, Sharna, about your days being different, that it might not have to be the same exact way that you spend those 10 or 15 minutes. It could be different, but maybe the goal that has you developing consistency is I want to do something that's meaningful to me, that's not just responding to all the littles or responding to the responsibilities that I have, but I'm caring for self in some way. That could look like journaling. It could look like meditating. It could look like taking a scalding hot shower with Brian. Whatever it is, I can intuitively ask myself, what do I need this morning? What would feel good? But you're still being consistent about taking that 15 minutes.
is that, would you say that maybe if that's your goal, to possibly taking the 15 minutes consistently every morning to get up early and work out, but then saying, you know what, I'm 4 days a week going to give myself an extra 15 minutes because I want to do these things as well. Like, it seems like you can give yourself more than just one goal to be doing, every morning or every other morning. So it's like you prioritize the things. Like, if I'm going to get in shape and I'm going to work out and I really want to get into the mind state of I'm active every day, I get up and I
Mhm.
do it. So it's like, okay, I'm going to get up every morning and I'm going to do it. I'm going to make that part of my routine. But then the other stuff, if we have time, um, and we can figure it out, 15 minutes every other morning to just lay in bed together then and cuddle or do those things. Or so you kind of plan those out too, but it becomes a separate goal aside from the one. It's not just like I only have 15 minutes every morning, so I've got to fit in whatever I can possibly fit into those 15 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. For me personally, I'm not a fan of having many goals at once because I feel like it gets watered down when people try and tackle too many things at
Mhm.
once. Reaching goals is not easy. I mean, if it was, I'd be at a business, right? It's like
Right.
Right.
it's not always easy changing mindset, changing the narrative around the goal that you have. Because if you have a goal and then you don't reach it, and that happens multiple times, now you have a story around it that you've built up, and you have to take that story away or change it. So I would say focus on one goal at a time. And when you start to create momentum and make headway, add in what you want after that goal. Have you ever
Right.
heard the term habit stacking?
No.
I feel like I have, but please tell it again because I
So it's
am.
simple. It's just piggybacking basically off of an already existing habit. So if your habit is to brush your teeth every morning,
Mhm,
I hope that it is,
mhm,
um,
Yeah.
then you would say, okay, I want to take my vitamins, but I'm always forgetting to take my vitamins. So what you might do is take your vitamins right before you brush your teeth or right after.
and you make the
Um,
habit the two things combined.
I would say before. So for instance, if you're a coffee drinker and you have coffee every single morning, and you know you're going to have coffee, then do the workout first. Do the 20 push-ups or, jogging in place, or do the meditation, then have the coffee as the reward. The
Mm.
coffee becomes more tasty because there's more gratification in it. You've worked for it, but
Mm,
you also get that beautiful check mark of I've done something for myself that I said that I was going to do and I followed through, and that there's so much good stuff in doing that every day.
mm.
That makes sense. I like
That's
that.
a really good idea.
Habit stacking. Love it.
Taking the things that you normally do every morning and really making them like rewards for the other things that I love the idea of that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Do you ever have trouble sleeping? Or, I mean, it sounds like you both
I
wake up
don't.
at the same time.
Yeah, I don't. Sharna has some trouble sleeping though sometimes.
I sometimes do. Not it's not like insomnia. I certainly used to struggle a lot with sleep. It just because my lifestyle was, from years of touring, it would be go to bed at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, wake up at 11 in the morning. Like it was just built around that. Um, but now it's just, I don't know. Sometimes I will just feel a little bit restless and can't truly fall asleep, but I'm pretty good. Pretty good, right?
Yeah, no, you are pretty good. I tend to fall asleep really quickly and easily.
Oh, he's out.
So
It
then
doesn't matter where it's the most frustrating
so
thing
then
on the
she will
planet.
like have to sit in bed and read, for
Yeah.
another hour and a half or something. But I my head hits the pillow and like we'll put on a movie or something to watch to go to sleep. And at like 10 minutes in, I'm
Gone.
like, can I just turn the TV off? Like And Bodhi is that way. Also.
You know when it grinds me, and not that we ever go to bed with tension, but I think there's like been 1 or 2 times in our entire like relationship where there was a little tension going to bed, and this man will knock out in 30 seconds. And it just fumed me. Like, what do you mean you can fall asleep right now?
How dare you?
How dare you?
Yeah,
I'm lying.
Brian,
You are.
are you sleeping?
Right.
Yeah. Hey,
Right.
are you asleep?
How
Yeah.
could
Did
you
you
be
just fall asleep?
right now?
Well, I was asleep. Yeah. So funny. We don't go to bed with tension though. We always talk things out. But there's been like maybe 1 or 2 times where I remember thinking, are you fucking kidding me? You fell asleep. Like, how? And I'm up stressing for hours.
Yeah.
You picked the movie and you fell asleep. The
Right.
audacity.
Right, totally.
Right.
I didn't even want to watch this movie.
Right. Jaws isn't even my favorite movie. You've watched it 15,000 times.
So true.
So wait, did you ever hit snooze in your sleeping career?
Oh, dude, snooze. I used to hit snooze so much that I was that girl with like 50 alarms set for 7, 7:01, 7:02, 7:05, 7:07. Like
Oh,
I was
no.
I was that person for
Yeah.
a period of time because I could not get up at that earlier time. My sleeping pattern just wasn't that. It's not like that anymore for sure. I know if I've got to wake up early, I'll set my alarm for a bit earlier because like if we have a flight, right? And we have to leave by 6 a.m. and we're waking up at 5. I'll set my alarm for like 10 minutes earlier because I know that I will press snooze because it's going to take me a second to get myself out of bed. But I hate that. And I used to do the Mel Robbins thing, the 5-second rule, the countdown from 5, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get out. And it
then
really
get up.
does work. Yeah. It
Yeah.
really does work. But I was out of the practice of it. So I don't have a need for the snooze button anymore, but I've occasionally used it.
See, I do the opposite. Like if there's pressure, if I know like I have to get up at 4:30 or something to get to the airport, I will feel the pressure of like, I don't want to miss the alarm. So I will get up at 3 and then 3:20
Right.
and 3:45. And it's like, what am I doing? Like, I could have been asleep this whole time.
Yeah.
And it drives me insane. So I'm the exact opposite. I've never been one to hit snooze. If an alarm goes off, I turn off the alarm and then I get up and it's like, okay, time to go.
All this talk about snooze, Shauna's yawning. Sharna's yawning. Sharna, you're like,
Listen, I've been eating my yawns this whole thing because my body is sore.
Your body.
I just like keep like. You know
She's
when you're
also really
holding
got
yawn?
this funny thing too. And you can't see it right now. We've noticed it with Zane. Zane picked it up from her. Obviously, yeah. Leg up all the time. Like if he's
what?
if he's sitting in a chair, one leg is always up. Like she cannot just sit.
That's called being a dancer because I can't do that even if I wanted to do that. My leg doesn't go in that
But
direction.
Zane does that. Like he
Zane
has a
does.
toy car in the backyard that he sits in. And so you put him in there and he'll put one foot so it's like up out the window.
Like
and then
me.
and like he's just kicking back at all times when he's doing stuff. And it's the weirdest thing.
He is my son.
Yeah.
He is my son.
Yeah, he absolutely is.
hey, that is so funny. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, listen, anyone who snoozes out there, this is just a suggestion for you. Try for a week not snoozing, period. I was working on this with my youngest daughter for school. She'd set her clock at 6:15 when she needs to get up at 6:30. And of course, Coach Randy, I come in, I'm like, are you snoozing?
No.
Right.
Yeah. And I said, no. Here are the studies. Here's what I can tell you about snoozing. And she's, probably eye rolling me.
She's absolutely eye rolling you, Randy. Yeah.
But here's the thing. Who wants to wake up and be groggy and lethargic through your day?
Yeah.
You don't want that, right?
Right.
So when you hit snooze and you actually go back to sleep, you enter into another sleep cycle, which, I think it's like a 75-minute sleep cycle. So if you get up 10 minutes later, you're part way through that sleep cycle, and then you're going to wake up and feel groggy and tired and lethargic, like Sharna yawning right now. And so
sorry.
you will have more energy if you set the clock for the time that you need to wake up and just get up. Like you said, the Mel Robbins thing, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, turn it off, get out of bed, make your bed. you'll have more energy.
You know what I think is a really good practice too that I used to do when I was younger? I put the alarm clock across the room instead of right
Yes.
next to the bed.
Yeah.
Put it so you have to get up out of bed to turn it off because it's across the room on some other dresser. You can still see it. You can do that. But that helped me immensely when there were mornings where I was like, God, I'm really tired today.
Yeah.
Having to get up out of bed, because once you do, and you walk across the room to turn that alarm off, you don't really want to get back in bed and do it again. Like you've
Once
kind
you're
of jump
up.
started. Yeah. You've jump started yourself.
Yep. You have a little bit of that cortisol and adrenaline hit that your body manufactures to actually get out of bed. Use it.
Yeah.
Use it and just go about your day.
Mm.
I want to hear from all of you. Let's write us and let us know about your morning routine. Are you a snoozer? Are you willing to try not snoozing for a week and see how it feels? Report back if you noticed anything. And we talked about the 15-minute routine. That could be in the morning, that could be later, but could you build something in for you that is additive? Something that maybe it's reading a passage of a book, or maybe it's just, running in place and moving your body or looking outside.
I love these challenges that we come up with every once in a while, Randy, where it's like, okay, for the next week, let's try these and let us know how it worked.
By we mean women, you come up with these challenges. We love the challenges.
This is a teamwork here, right?
I accept the challenge, Randy.
Okay. All I'm seeing is yawning and what did you say? Rubbing the meaty parts of your hand.
The meaty
part of the hand. Yeah.
I'm rubbing the meaty bits.
Wow. Randy. My goodness.
Sorry, I didn't mean. I mean, you started it with the shower with Brian. You're like, I need something intimate in the morning, like a shower with Brian.
That doesn't mean you have sex in the shower.
It doesn't have to be intimate. That's one of the things that we've really
it's intimate and closeness.
Sometimes it's just the conversation. It's being next to each other. It's like, hey, morning starting, talking to each other, or end of the day, how was your day? Like just having that time, that 5-10 minutes of just the two of you being in a space, sharing that space and sharing the time with each other really, I've never been a huge fan of it because I've always felt like, oh, okay, well, if we're taking a shower together, then there's pressure of it's got to be sexual. There's got to be something to it. Or that fighting over water, who's getting the hot shower, who's getting
burned the quickest.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But now I really have a respect and I enjoyed those times that we have. And it was Sharna's idea, but it's great. I love doing it now.
Yeah, more connection time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that note, thank you everyone for tuning in.
On the showering together note.
Love that we ended with that. Fantastic.
Thank you everyone for listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Yes, you guys are amazing. Make sure you guys go and follow us on Instagram at @oldishpod. And you can also go and leave us a message at our own hotline, which is 855-OLDISH3.
Make sure and write us a review. Leave us 5 stars if you loved it. Leave us 5 stars if you didn't.
We love 5 stars. We love 5 stars.
Yeah.
We like 5 stars.
Yeah. See you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you next week, everyone.